Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self love, self care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about why it is important to take care of yourself. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I am Picket Fence.
All right, you got that mindfulness minute for us.
So the mindfulness minute today, a couple different things. We're going to be reading from a lot of different things since we're talking about self-care in general today. So I'll start off with this. Getting a massage is a great way to release the stress and tension that your body holds on to. There is nothing comparable to human touch, coupled with aromatherapy to transport you into a place of relaxation and peace. If you don't like the rose scent, ask the masseur to use sandalwood, myrrh, or any other of your favorite scents. Massages are available at day spas and sometimes offered at discount at local colleges. Or if you don't feel comfortable going to a college, ask your spouse or significant other for a massage. Okay. Now, when we talk about self-care, of course, we all know that human touch is essential to human beings, right? And so that's why I started off with that. But when we talk about self-care, we want to talk about all the different aspects of self-care. We want to talk about things like eating healthy and your skin. A lot of people don't realize that the skin is the biggest organ in the body. I mean, sure, most of us know that, but some people don't. So one thing that is essential to do is to take care of your skin. And we always talk about drinking water, getting enough water for a day. It is also essential that you moisturize your skin. You can also do things like eating healthy foods to take care of your skin.
Okay, I am a huge fan of massages. I get one whenever possible. I get them for my birthday, of course, the 13 days of Nikki. There's always a massage in there somewhere. There's a massage if I'm, feeling extra stressed at work or, I've had just a stressful time. Then there's, definitely appointment being made with my favorite masseur. And shout out to Lantrell and his gifted hands. And shout out to Collins Preston Massage Therapy. Look them up, check them out. Definitely, gifted hands indeed. I've been working better about increasing my water. You see, I have my water now. So I'm getting at least 3 bottles a day in me, which is way better than I was doing before when I was 1 a day. While not drinking a lot of water, I also don't drink a lot of pop. So it wasn't like I was replacing water with something that was, less healthy. I just wasn't drinking at all. So now I'm consciously drinking water and taking care of my skin. As you can see, there's no blemishes or anything because I make it a conscious decision to take care of my skin. I definitely moisturize. I have Bath and Body Works products, of course, but those are not always good for moisturizing. So you really need to look at the labels of those different scents because sometimes the more scented it is, the less moisturizing properties that it has in it. But you can always, use like in a Aveeno type of lotion or a Nivea, something a little bit thicker, even cocoa butter, and then just layer yourself with the Bath and Body Works scent if you don't want to smell like just plain lotion or whatever it is you use. It has a very faint scent. You can always cover it with the Bath and Body Works sprays.
Yeah, you definitely have to be careful with the stuff like Bath and Body Works because a lot of those perfumes, although they smell good, they can be irritants to your skin.
Definitely.
So you definitely want to try to use something as natural as possible. Like you said, cocoa butter, shea butter, unscented shea butter, or if you have your own essential oils that have not shown you any type of irritation to your skin that you use, you can get plain shea butter or plain cocoa butter, slowly melt it. Don't boil it, slowly melt it and add your own scents that you want into that shea butter or cocoa butter and before you moisturize your skin. And then some of those essential oils, if they're not irritating your skin, they're also good for your skin. You can use things like lavender or tea tree or jojoba, things that are already good for your skin. You can just add them to the shea butter, which is a good moisturizer for your skin. And you talked about drinking water. For those who don't know, what they suggest, growing up, we used to hear 8 glasses a day of water. But actually, what you need to do is drink half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, the actual amount of water you should be consuming is 100 ounces of water. And you just do the math on your own weight. Do half your body weight in ounces. And that's how you get how much water you should be drinking a day. Also,
Wow.
I know it's hard for a lot of people to get a lot of water in. So try to consume fruits and vegetables that have a lot of water in them. Things like cucumbers, lettuce, any leafy greens usually packs a lot of water in it. Tomatoes. If you eat those fruits and vegetables, you're getting some water in. So if days that you can't get that whole amount of water that you should be consuming, you are getting extra water by having those types of fruits and vegetables.
I like that. Now, I also, would never turn down a good piece of watermelon with seeds. Watermelon with seeds.
With seeds. Gotta have the seeds in that watermelon. Don't eat an alien watermelon, some kind of man-made watermelon.
No,
Any
definitely not.
Any fruit or vegetable, make sure you got the seeds in them fruits. Grapes, watermelon, all those things are supposed to have seeds in them. Just be like an old country boy and spit them out. Ting.
An old country boy and spit them out. Yeah, I don't know about that. Spitting is a very dirty habit, but I like where you're going with that. Definitely. I do like seedless grapes though. Like most people would probably find they're much easier to eat, especially because I like frozen grapes. If you freeze them, they make a really, really good treat to have during the summer, especially on a really hot day. You get a bag of frozen grapes. It's a great snack. However, I do need to be more mindful about buying fruits and vegetables that are more organic, or at least definitely have seeds in them. So they tend to be a lot less processed, a lot less pesticides and things like that in them, which make them better for your body, which of course is the biggest part of self-care, is taking care of your body, not just inside and outside, because people tend to think that self-care is just massages and trips to the nail salon, but there's so much more that goes into self-care and taking care of oneself in all aspects of oneself. It's not just the physical, and the physical is what you get with the massages and the nails and the pedicures and sweet treats. Those are all physical, but there are other things that we need to be doing to feed our spirit, to feed our mind, to feed our souls, to even be financial stewards of our money, financial self-care.
Or I agree. Let's go over some of the different types of self-care that people might not be aware of. There are usually 7 types of self-care that are in general practice. The first is emotional self-care. That involves dealing with your emotional self-being, your feelings. If you're going through things, like we say all the time, we're not professionals, but you should seek a professional. Never be afraid to seek a professional. I know there's a stigma in the community where people talk about Black people don't see therapists. They need to. They should. They ought to. Go see one.
I agree.
Do yourself a favor. Then there's physical self-care. We all know that we need to get in exercise every day. Most of us don't. I know I don't. Look at me. But we what we want to encourage people to do is to get at least 30 minutes of exercise every day. Now that could be something simple as taking a walk after your meal or dinner or lunch. You get a lunch break at work, eat your lunch, and then take a stroll. Or after dinner, go on a 30-minute walk. Or you can start early in the morning. You can start off with simple stretching. Stretch for about 15, 20 minutes. That's going to help knock the kinks out from being if you sleep funny, if you happen to sleep the wrong way on your arm or hanging off the bed, doing a good 15 to 20 minute stretch will help your body get ready for the day. So that's physical self-care. Then there's social self-care. Now, we've talked about a lot of different types of social care. Social self-care is not just social media. Um, to me, it's surrounding yourself with the right type of people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you may have negative people in your life, and sometimes it's hard to cut them off because they might be longtime friends or they might even be your family. So you have to really have strength sometimes to break off the negative people in your life and surround your people that are positive and beneficial for your well-being. There is spiritual self-care. Now, we're not pushing any type of religion on people, but I think that everybody should have some type of spiritual foundation. Whatever your spiritual foundation is, make sure you dive deep into it. You know, you got to keep your spirit intact, no matter what religion or spiritual practice you use. Stay on it, because that's something that can help you out and guide you through the rough times, or just through times period. You know, it's a lot of times you just have questions, and if you're on your practice, those answers come to you, I think, a lot easier. Professional self-care is another. You speak on professional self-care for the people.
Well, professional self-care is doing those things that are going to enhance your profession. Whatever profession is that it is that you choose, you want to be, learning as much as you can about that profession. Excuse me. You want to, take classes, take some webinars, read books, learn more about what you do for a living, which will add to your professionalism. It adds to your knowledge base. It makes you better at your job. And in some cases, because you have nurtured your professional self-care, there may be a pay raise or two in it for you. You may end up making more money because you've learned more about your field, or you've gone above and beyond what your degree says that you should do. And some learning institutions, you could come in the door with a bachelor's plus. So a bachelor's plus 100 hours of professional development gets you a higher rank on the pay scale than somebody who just came in with a bachelor's. Or if you have a master's plus or a doctorate plus, someone who just comes in with a doctorate is going to make this level of salary, but you're coming in with the doctorate plus, you're going to be up here higher on the pay scale. So you want to nurture your professional self-care. And if you are unhappy with the current profession that you have, then this is a perfect opportunity to learn more about a profession that you may want to do, to have a career change, to upgrade, maybe stay in the same field, but do some other avenue in that same field. The possibilities with professional self-care are really endless.
Word up. I agree. You can always learn. Learning is at your fingertips. If you don't have the money to go back to school, like I said, there's a lot of free learning courses online. There's always the local library, since things are opening back up. At least they're open for right now. Take advantage of that. You don't have to stay in the library. I still suggest you keep your social distancing, but like our library here, you can order a pickup, curbside pickup. You can get your stuff that you want to study online and somebody bring it out to you. Or if you have the money, purchase books. Never stop learning. Learning is fundamental. Practical self-care. What's your take on practical self-care?
Practical self-care to me says that you're just doing things that make sense. For example, if you go out and you have a drink with friends, that is part of your social self-care, and you have one or two cocktails and you follow it with some water, and then you guys spend the rest of the night laughing and joking. Practical self-care, as opposed to going out with those same friends and drinking to excess to the point where you cannot safely drive yourself or someone else home. So that just being practical, being mindful, wearing your seatbelt when you're in a car, that is practical self-care. You're doing things that are just, in some ways, it should be common sense or second nature, but they're practical, basic things that one should do to take care of oneself. You take a shower every day. You put on fresh clothes every day. That is practical self-care.
Word up. And the last one that's talked about a lot, like I said, there's several, but these are just the main ones. The last one that's talked about a lot is mental self-care. Break that down for them.
So mental self-care is exactly what we do on our show every week. It is what we do with our self-care assignments that we post on our social media sites week after week. It is about taking care of your mind, mental health care and protection. So not just seeing a therapist, talking out your problems and venting. It is also protecting your mind from some of the negative influences of, say, social media or TV news or other things that are going to be damaging to your mental health, things that are going to upset you. You talked about in the beginning of the show of, having to maybe stop dealing with certain friends or family members, even though you've been around this person your whole life. They may be toxic to your mental health. As much as you love them, as great as the friendship and the connection is, sometimes we have to cut those connections off to protect our own mental health. A lot of people don't realize just how fragile your mental health really is. If you've ever been around someone or seen someone experience a complete psychotic break, then you will understand exactly how fragile your mental health is and how you really have to work hard to protect it and nurture it. Because unfortunately, if something were to happen and you were to have a mental break, I'm not going to say that there's no coming back from it, but the likelihood of you coming back from it and being the same that you are today, right in this moment, is going to be very hard. It's going to be very, very hard to come back from a psychotic break to where you are fully dealing with reality on all cylinders. So it's definitely something that has to be protected, sometimes at all costs. In the words of Malcolm X, by any means necessary, protect your mental health.
Yeah, I say definitely. And sometimes mental health can just be about allowing your mind the time to relax and do nothing. Sometimes mental health can be just sitting in silence, to stop stressing about all the stress that anyone can have throughout the day. It's time to just blink out from the world.
Yes.
A lot of people will suggest meditation to kind of be still, be calm. That gives your mind a chance to stop, because a lot of us have those minds that are always going, always working, always, no matter what. Some people have trouble falling asleep because they're so busy thinking about tomorrow, next week, the week after, and so mental health can be simple as that. It's just being quiet, being still.
First of all, sir, what you're not going to do is call me out on my own show.
What do you mean?
That's what you're not going to do. What you're not going to do is totally put me on blast for the way that my mind races and causes me to precipitate on things that I should let go or not think about or not over process, so that I can go to bed at night and wake up on time refreshed and ready for the day. We're not going to do that. I am a work in progress. I am getting better, but I definitely love the moments where I do allow my mind to just veg out. I like to watch mindless television, sometimes old cartoons, a regular show, just something kind of goofy in the background that I don't have to think about. I don't have to process. It doesn't give me another problem to solve as I'm watching TV. I was watching old episodes last week of CSI. And even though I've seen the whole entire series, I was like, wow, I really used to like this show. I really wanted to be a CSI. They made it all look so easy. But in that time of just watching and kind of letting it watch me some, my brain was able to really get a break and to kind of veg out and relax. Another great idea for letting your brain kind of veg out is to do something creative, to color, to draw, to write, to listen to music that's an instrumental and maybe change the words, come up with your own new words. Turning on your creative part of your brain turns off some of your processing brain. So you're not overthinking, you're not over processing, and that gives your brain a break. It gives that tissue in your brain a time to shrink back down, because if you're in a heightened state, then your brain pieces are like swollen and they're filled up with water, and your neurons are firing off at all cylinders. Well, this allows you to turn off some of those neurons and just kind of relax your brain.
Word up. Those are some real good ideas, especially like the coloring and the drawing. And I didn't realize, it's just thinking on it now, it's like back in the day, how before there were games and 50,000 cable channels and internet stuff, people really used to be involved in leisure activities like you said, doing puzzles, crocheting, doodling. I know my mom had a whole notebook of just scribbles, just doodles. She just doodled on everything. She also crocheted, and I think not enough people do those relaxing things anymore. I think it may seem like work to a lot of people. Not necessarily doodling, but crocheting or sewing, those things seem like work to a lot of people, so they don't really get involved. And then there's, they don't have a lot of home ec in schools like they used to. But I would definitely suggest finding a hobby, something that you love to do that isn't stressful, something that just relaxes your mind, that it takes you to another place. It takes you to a place of relaxation, like we talked about with the massage, and aromatherapy, lighting a candle, something that is going to put you in a state of total relaxation so you could just veg out. Because just like your body needs to rest at night when it's sleeping, your mind needs to rest, and not just at night, because I think your mind is processing dreams and stuff at night. So you need time where your mind doesn't have to work so hard during the day too. Word up.
I definitely agree with that. We there's an activity that I love. You can find it on YouTube, but it's called 5 minutes off. And we actually had that as a self-care assignment a few weeks ago, is to take 5 minutes off or 10 minutes off. If you can afford 10 minutes during your workday to just take 10 minutes off, I highly suggest you do it. If you need help with, ideas of how to do it, again, there's a YouTube video and it's called 5 minutes off. And what it is, it's a visualization exercise that's set to really soft music, and it has a really beautiful sunset and waves as the picture for you to look at. And you kind of just listen to what he's saying, and you follow the steps of the deep breathing, the visualizations that he's giving you in that 5 minutes off. And it really does work wonders. I try to do it a couple of times a day, depending on what my day looks like and how many students I have to come to school that day. I may only get a chance to do it once, and that's during my lunch hour, or my lunch half hour rather. But at some point every day, I'm taking that mindful 5 minutes away. I shut my door, I turn off my lights, I turn on the 5 minutes off video, I follow the guided meditation, and it works. So when I am finished with that 5 minutes, I really am kind of transformed, and I'm back to what I like to call my whole self, where I've really checked in with myself, and I'm like, I'm okay, I'm calm, I am fine, I am now ready to take on and face the rest of my day. Whatever comes my way, I am ready, because I gave my brain time to rest and not process every little thing, or not overthink every little thing. It really is amazing. And then once you get in the habit and the practice of doing it, there are a series of videos that YouTube will suggest after you've watched that video. So if you watch that video 3 or 4 times and you're like, okay, I don't want this anymore, I want something different, they have suggestions of videos that are very similar, where you could take 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 10, 20, however long you have. And then there's one that is even an hour long that I used to use in my classroom when we do our yoga and our guided meditation after lunch, and it was an hour long. So during that hour, we did the yoga, we did the meditation, and I turned it off somewhere at like 40, 45 minutes. And then sometimes if the kids were really vibing with it, then I let it play for the whole hour. And it worked wonders for me. It worked wonders for them. It made my classroom a much nicer and calmer place. It was amazing.
Word up. That's dope. Real dope. So let's get into the self-care assignment for this week. I want you to do 2 things for the next 7 days.
Okay.
1, first thing in the morning, drink a glass of water. 2, after that glass of water, take a few minutes to stretch. Work your neck muscles, work your arms, work your hips from laying in that bed all funny all night, touch your toes, reach up and touch the ceiling. Just get a good 5 to 10 minute stretch after you have that nice room temperature glass of water. That's your self-care assignment for this week. Now let's get into my favorite part of the show. Doom, 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 doom. Brain science, 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 science.
All right, so we're going to talk more about the science behind self-care. So self-care may sound like a luxury, but science has proven it is actually a non-negotiable for your body, mind, and spirit. We all know how good it feels to treat yourself. Does it get any better than a face mask, a bubble bath, and candles on a Sunday night? But while we have the vague understanding that self-care is beneficial, it's more difficult to define exactly why it's so hard to take that downtime. It turns out through plenty of studies and experts that taking me time is essential. Self-care can take many forms. It can mean physical activities like exercise, getting enough sleep, eating healthy, pleasurable activities like baths, manicures, and Netflix, or simply responding in a more positive way to a stressful situation. At its core, however, self-care means having an evident shift in mental energy. Instead of focusing on what others want from you, self-care involves shutting down those thoughts and focusing completely on what you need in the moment. So here are some steps you can take, some really quick ones. Self-care helps you to be kinder to yourself. Here's one thing that self-care is not. It is not thinking to yourself, I should be doing X, Y, or Z right now. Rather, think of self-care as doing. View it as a shift in your mindset, and putting pressure on yourself to do something is the opposite of self-care. So be kind to yourself, take care of yourself. Self-care enables you to respond better to difficult situations. We all go through tough times in life, from a breakup to being fired or losing a loved one. And when those situations lead to emotions such as anxiety, loneliness, guilt, or grief, many of our default reactions, such as ruminating, dwelling, or endlessly rehashing the situation, are not the most effective responses. Instead of moving on, those emotions become more likely to take root and endure. Instead, turn to self-care as your emotional first aid. Put your well-being first and do things that you truly want to do, whether it's going to a yoga class or vegging out on the couch. That is the best cure for dealing with those stressful situations and setbacks. Self-care restores your energy resources. So just like having a cup of coffee or a nutritious meal ups your physical energy stores, taking time to focus on yourself replenishes your psychological energy, and it can easily be as simple as watching your favorite TV show or something that you know will lift your spirits. Self-care boosts your patience and efficiency. You know those days you tend to snap at everyone over every little thing? A short fuse is a huge warning sign that you need to take a time out for yourself. If you are not enjoying the things that you used to really enjoy, this is a sign that stress has taken over your body. Another red flag is if you're feeling too tired to take care of the little things like being careful or allowing enough time to arrive to a destination, for example. You need to take some time for yourself when you start to get clumsy or arriving late to appointments. Self-care has real short and long-term effects. Research shows that cortisol, the stress hormone, can wreak havoc on your body, leading to foggy thinking, fatigue, pessimism, weight gain, and substance abuse. But the number one antidote for that is taking time for self-care. In the short term, you can count on methods of self-care to elevate your mood, increase productivity, curb sugar cravings, and help with sleep. In the long term, you can see benefits such as lower blood pressure, a healthier heart, as an overall more balanced happier life.
Word up. That was pretty dope. I
agree.
Self-care. That's what this podcast is about. Self-care.
Self-care. So if they want to join us on the journey to self-care, tell them how to do it.
You can find us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. We're also on all social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and IG. We're, like I said, on Facebook. You can comment it, send us a message. If you'd like to be on the show to talk about self-care with us, please hit us up. You can hit us up at flywithusla@gmail.com. I'm your boy Picket Fence.
I'm Lady Bounce.
We out of here.
We out of here.
Peace.
Peace.